Jasmine Jasovizzi is here. Don't forget to tap into the Darce podcast.
The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Darce podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for another episode of the Darce podcast, UFC 312, Strickland du Plessis 2, and we're coming off an awesome podcast for UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia. Fellas, the plus bus cashes, the slick report comes through, the Brasco breakdown gets a cheeky nod, and the Darce parlay hits too. What a pod. If you listened, show us some love by liking the video right now. Make sure you're subscribed. Show us some love in the chat. Fire away, guys. We're seeing what you guys are putting down in the chat, and hopefully you cashed in with us last week. What's up, Plus? What's up, Slick? First of all, Plus, I got to ask. I mean, Izzy, the legend, fallen, smoked. He looked great in the first round, but Imavov right hand smokes him. Where does he go from here? What's next for Izzy?
I'm not sure, man. Maybe start up a new Jabberwockies, hit that breakdancing, hit the streets breakdancing. You never know. It was a sad ending to. I mean, not that we all said Imavov in the. Actually, I think you said Izzy.
I had
Izzy.
Izzy.
Said Imavov.
I had Izzy, yeah.
And then listen, I switched my pick. I went with Izzy too, just in my heart. It was a hard bet, and oh man, that was rough. Tough.
Yeah,
to see.
man. Well, Slick, does that mean that Imavov is next up after Strickland and du Plessis duke it out? Middleweight is what, Kyle Borralho and Imavov. Really, those are the two next guys up, right? Do you give him the title shot?
Nah, I mean, I think you give the title shot to Hamza after, probably like around June, International Fight Week. And then you have Imavov versus Cannonier fight around that same time. Neither guy has taken huge amounts of damage in their last fight. So that would be a stacked card, man. Imavov versus Borralho, and Hamza and Chimaev versus the winner. That would definitely be a card to watch.
Yeah, there you go. How could I forget about the Wolf, Hamza out there just waiting for his time to shine? Well, crazy UFC Saudi card. Izzy goes down. So many legends have fallen. See that graphic of like Usman, Volk, and Izzy all together. And in the last couple of years, how the sport can change. It's the hardest sport to like get bad in. You know what I mean? It's not like a team just all of a sudden can't win. Like it goes down hard. In any case, we move forward to UFC 312, and let's start by going all aboard the Mr. Plus parlay bus.
Mr. Plus, parlay bus, bet it all in trust. Jabs and hooks, it's all about the rush. Put it down on the underdog, never hush. Odds stack high, feel the thrill, that's a must. And I'll see you when that shit cashes.
And plus, you got a shorter bus this week. Normally 3-legger, but this one, just a 2-piece. You're not in love with this card, you said. So who do you like throwing a 2-legger for?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Before we jump on the bus and try to hit the cash counter again, I'm going to tell you guys, disclaimer here, I hate this card. I usually don't skip UFC cards, but I'm not sure I'm going to even make that many bets for this card. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to be as disciplined as possible. I am still going to bet the bus. Let's jump right into the bus, matter of fact. But yeah, I just not in love with this card. I found 2 fights to get us a plus money. It's plus 100. When I saw it, it was plus 109. It's down to plus 100 already. I feel like it's not going to be plus money if we don't bet it now. So if you like this parlay bus, bet this shit now. Bet it early. Get the plus money. Leg number 1 of the bus. We're going Gabriel Santos versus Jack Jenkins, and we're taking the favorite, Gabriel Santos. That's leg number 1. I just think he's going to be an all-around better fighter. Jack Jenkins is pretty one-dimensional with those leg kicks, man. He does have some power in him. He could break your leg with these leg kicks, but I just don't think Gabriel Santos is going to give him that much of an opportunity to do it. He's an all-around good fighter. He's got that BJJ. I feel like if this stays on the feet, it's Gabriel's fight. If it hits the mat, it's Gabriel's fight. Pretty easy leg for me. This is one of the fights that I actually am pretty confident in. Give me the Brazilian, Gabriel Santos. leg number 1. I'm sure the boys are going to break it down a little bit better than that. But like I said, I hate this fucking card. So it was hard for me to even put a parlay together. Leg number 2, I'm going with the savvy veteran, Jake Matthews. Ever since that fight where he beat up Semmelsberger, I feel different about this guy. I mean, yes, he took the loss to Mike Morales, which is looking like a good loss right now. And then he beat up Phil Rowe. I'll be honest with you. I was on the wrong side. Every single fight, I was on Semmelsberger. Then I even took a shot because I was like, yo, Jake Matthews can maybe take the O. Didn't happen. And then, of course, I took Phil Rowe in the last fight. So I'm hopping on the Jake Matthews train. I hope this doesn't backfire for me. But I just think he's going to beat up Francisco Prado. Francisco Prado's an up-and-coming guy. He only has a couple UFC fights. He's 3 total, and he's 1-2 in those fights. And he's coming up in weight. So he's coming up in weight to fight a veteran. I just don't think Jake Matthews is going to give him the crazy power punches that he thinks he might be able to land. And I really do see Jake Matthews outpointing him, being smarter, using his fight IQ. And again, all around just taking this fight where it needs to go so he can bring us home the dub. I'll see you guys when that shit cashes. I know it's not exciting. It's only a 2-legger. That's what I got for you this week on the shittiest card I've ever seen.
Oh my God, and it's a pay-per-view at that. But he's going with the 2-legger. You got plus money. First leg, Gabriel Santos. Slick, this is a guy that you were high on early in his career. I believe in his debut, I recall he went to a split decision with Lerone Murphy, a guy that's a fantastic ranked featherweight fighter, and right away put himself on the map. So what do you think about Santos in this matchup? You still high on him? You think he can show out?
I'm honestly more looking towards the trajectory of Jack Jenkins. This was a guy that had a lot of hype coming into the UFC, known for his leg kicks, getting TKOs with his leg kicks. And now he's just been getting 2 tough opponents back to back. Last fight, he got almost TKO'd via injury to Chepe. But before that, Chepe was landing some good shots on him. He was basically brawling with him. And then now he's getting a Santos that I just think he's getting them at the wrong time. You're getting Santos, an up-and-coming guy that has good leg kicks himself, has the wrestling, has the jiu-jitsu to really keep Brandon Jenkins on the ground. I just think this is a good spot for Santos in the sense that Santos could just probably outpoint him, land the bigger shots. My only concern, of course, is that we're in Australia, and the Australian crowd is probably going to be ooh and ah every single time Jack Jenkins throws the leg kicks or Jack Jenkins throws a punch. But other than that, I think Santos is just a better all-around fighter. I think this is a great spot for him.
That's right. We are down under, so you're going to get the oohs and the ahs. And Dylan says, Slick, you sound sick, my guy. We had the Mr. Plus flu game last week, right? Oh, my God, that was last week. And look what happened. It's the Slick flu game. Let's run it, boys. Look, maybe this is a good omen, in fact. So, Dylan, shout out there. What's up, James in the chat? Jeff, see you guys here. Keep firing away your thoughts on all these plays and what you guys are betting on, and we're happy to answer any questions. Second leg was Jake Matthews, Mr. Plus, going with Jake Matthews here. I mean, it's like Prado's a tough kid, man. I was actually looking towards him at plus 180. I didn't quite bet it yet, but Matthews definitely skill for skill, veteran, experience. Like, he's better than Prado. Prado can just fight in some wars and bite down on the mouthpiece. So I wonder what that's like if it gets nasty. What do you think about this matchup? Can the more experienced guy Matthews show that here, or do you think the young kid Prado's got something?
Yeah, because Matthew, the one thing that he has in his back pocket is the wrestling. We've seen Francisco Prado get dominated in the wrestling by a more smaller guy in Jamie Malarkey. Now he's going to get he's coming up in weight class fighting against Jake Matthews. I just think even if Jake Matthews doesn't even get the wrestling going, I think he's going to be stronger in the clinch. And this is just a spot that I think Prado is going to have to land big shots. But even if he lands big shots, we've seen Semmelsberger knock down Jake Matthews almost 4 times, and Jake Matthews still continuing to fight. So it's just a matter of fact if Prado gets that lucky punch. I don't think so. I think Jake Matthews he saw opportunity to take advantage of the wrestling in his last fight against Darius Flowers, and he took full advantage of it. I think he does the same here. Probably gets a decision win. He's not one of those guys that really attack subs unless they're presented to him. So I think he gets like a 30-27 or a dominant 29-28.
There you have it. Slick confirming the Mr. Plus bus and, making me rethink my idea on Prado as a dog. Mr. Plus, if you've got methods on either of these guys, how do you see them finishing? I like the 2-legger for plus 100. That's always nice. You like methods on either?
I do think that Prado is a little wild, so I could see a Jake Matthews finish. However, I really feel like that goes to decision. The as far as the other fight goes, Gabriel Santos, I could see a sub or decision. I might do a double chance, but yeah, money lines put them together. You're still getting the plus money, a little bit of value on that, honestly.
There
Two
you
fights
have
you
it.
might not have to worry so much about, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. Two-legger plus 100. That's how you do it in the UFC there. Two favorites he likes. Kicking us off right there. And next up, guys, I'm going to get my thoughts together for the Brasco breakdown.
Brasco's breakdown. Brasco's breakdown.
And last week, we got a cheeky nod for my guy Hamdi, who definitely lost that fight, but got the 29-28 Sal D'Amato rig job. How many has Sal stolen from us? So I'll take one back. Thank you, Sal. We're owed one here and there. So sorry to any Pogues bettors. In any case, I'm feeling lucky now. So this week's Brasco breakdown's a plus 200 dog. Give me Wrong Zoo. Plus 200 on this guy? Those odds don't make any sense for this fight against a guy in Cody Steele that's debuting here. The guy is 7-0, just came off Contender Series. Yes, he has power. He's got grappling skill. He seems to have toughness, and he looks to be a solid prospect. But who has he fought? Absolutely nobody. Meanwhile, Rongzu is 24 years old, and the guy is 25-6. He has 31 pro fights. He's been on the road to UFC. This is actually his second stint in the UFC, cutting his teeth the hard way. Went 1-2 the first time around and lost to, pretty tough competition. Got choked out in that Bravo choke by Ignacio Bahamondes. And he missed weight a couple times in his initial stint in the UFC. Got it together, went on the regional scene, put together a win streak, won the road to UFC, came back and was fighting Chris Padilla, looking pretty solid, and got caught with an elbow, and that eye swelled up, got the doctor stop. It's just tough go of it. But I think this guy's building his mettle, man. I think he's cutting his teeth the hard way in the UFC, and you're going to make him the plus 200 dog with this much more pro experience and a second run in the UFC. This is his shot here. I think the odds are off. I'm going to take the underdog shot on the hard-nosed scrapper, Wrong Zoo, to push the pace on Steele and show that he's made of it and get the job done. Fellas, Mr. Plus 200, speaking to you on Wrong Zoo?
Yeah, you are. And listen, I don't like the card, but this is the spot I might shoot. The Cody Steele kid didn't even look good before he got that lucky clip KO, like the body shot KO. I mean, he clipped him. It was like a liver shot. It fell right. However, other than that, he didn't look that good. He didn't impress me to be this hyped up, and I know he's hyped up against the Ronju, who's got those road to UFC wins. I mean, I guess that's not like UFC caliber, but I feel like it's a lot closer than the other, what's his Fury that the kid was part of. So, he is the one Contender Series win. I kind of like the plus 200. This line should be a pick 'em.
I totally agree. That's how I see it. So you're giving me plus 200. I'm throwing a unit on it. I'm waiting to see what the odds on FanDuel are because I feel like there would be slightly better. So I'm going to throw another one there, another bet on FanDuel. Slick, what are you thinking about Rongju? Am I onto something here?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I can't say I totally disagree with everything you just said about Rongju. I'm sorry to say, this is a guy that came into the UFC with a lot of hype off him being the number one guy coming out of China, and he just not has lived up to the hype. He has one of the worst striking defenses in China, I believe. This guy is not good on the ground. He's been submitting other low-level Chinese guys that have not been on the ground. I looked at his resume. This guy, honestly, is beyond trash. The one thing that we know about him is that he has a good jab, and he's able to out-wrestle guys that don't have no wrestling pedigree. Cody Steele is going to come into this fight with the way better chin. He's going to be able to dictate more arsenal in the chance that he has great hooks, great shots to the body, and he has an all-around game. He could sub you, he could wrestle you, he could win a decision. And the one thing I really loved about him coming into the UFC, because this guy was a max bet for me whenever he was on the Contender Series. The one thing I loved about him coming into the UFC was all of his KOs were coming in the second and third round. You don't see that from Contender Series guys and stuff like that. A lot of guys get their KO in the first round. I think Ronju is just getting Cody Steele at the wrong time. He's finally got his whereabouts coming out the Contender Series. Now he's just going to have more and more confidence. The one concern about me was his striking defense, but this is a guy that breaks you with his striking defense. He doesn't show no type of intimacy or anything when you hit him. This guy just keeps coming forward, and I think that's what Ronju has shown. A guy like Chris Padilla that was trying to stay on the outside landed almost 60% of his punches on Ronju outside of that elbow. So I'm just not high on him. I honestly believe he's actually pretty small for this weight class. I think he should have went down a little bit to the last weight class. So I think this is definitely a good spot for Cody Steele to get a highlight KO or even get a sub. So I'm real high on Cody Steele in this spot. And I think Ronju is just he's getting this fight, and the UFC can't be more than happy to cut a guy like him.
Wow, Slick just slamming the door shut on the Brasco breakdown. Nonetheless, Plus likes it. I like it. I think he brings the noise. And, hey, yeah, he's right. His striking defense isn't great, but he's going to have to make Steele prove it to me here. That's what I want to see. Plus 200? I think it's off, but Slick thinks Cody Steele got this. We shall see. On to Slick's pick of the day. It's time for the Slick Report. Salute!
Philly in the game, and you know we on time. Slick reports coming, ain't never gonna stop. And I'm make captains with the knowledge and the flow. From the East Coast, getting that paper like a Philly bankroll. Rocking every fight, keep the audience on hold.
Slick. Oh, look at that. Brought to you by Henny Cough Syrup.
Yo,
Slick.
These beats are fire, Cal. I just wanted, like, the AI beats are fire. I'm over here dancing and shit.
And we got AI products as well. So not only music, but products, merch coming soon. Slick got the hat on. I can only wonder what that means. Go ahead, man. The floor is yours. Who are you picking for the Slick Report?
Yeah, we cashed the Slick Report last week. I'm telling you, from now on, the Slick Report is only going to get dogs in the Slick Report. Every time I pick a dog, and not underdog, but a dog in the person, they cash for us. So in this spot, we're going with Slava Claus, Borshev, minus 135. You get him right now on DraftKings. This is a good spot, I believe, for a lot of people that want their Australian parlays. You know, probably put Tom Nolan in them. This is a perfect. Oh, you got this fucked up fight, because Tom Nolan, he's been one of those guys that have been on the regional scene getting a lot of first round KOs. He even KO'd the Slick Report. That was the Slick Report last week. Bogdan Grad, that was as tough as they come. Man, this is just a spot that I got to go with Borshev. Borshev has shown way more time and time again that he's just as durable as they come. Coming back against Nazim Sadiakov after that second round head kick. Coming back against James Loudtop in a freaking back and forth brawl. Chase Hooper was able to dominate him, but just for him to being able to survive that first round just showed him time and time again that he's tough. Tom Nolan is just one of those guys that you want to bet on, guys that don't have power against, because this guy's chin is up in the air in every exchange. He has been dropped in the UFC and in the regional scene almost every single time in each of his fights. His chin is there to be hit. I'm trusting Borshev to have the better striking defense. I'm not saying that Tom Nolan he could KO Borshev. At the end of the day, anybody is a lucky chance. He had good knees. I just think this is a great spot for Borshev to get 2 wins back to back. He's a great kickboxer, training with a good team. I know they're going to have a game plan to get to Nolan's chin. And Tom Nolan is just one of those guys that he's just getting a guy too soon, like Peyton Talbot and Barcelos type, you know, like one of those types of guys that's able to take advantage of your flaws. You know, he fought a guy in Alex Reyes last fight that didn't fight for 7 years, and he wasn't able to finish him. And then before that, he fought a guy in Victor Martinez that's not even in the UFC, I don't believe. And Victor Martinez dropped him in the first round, and he was able to recover. But if he didn't land that knee to the liver, who knows how that fight would have went. You know, Victor Martinez was starting to put the pressure on him. I think this is a great spot for Borshev to probably get a highlight reel KO, or if not, just get a dominant decision win. Give me Vyacheslav, a.k.a. Slava Claus, Borshev for the Slick Report this week.
Slava Claus is coming to town. Friend of the show, friend of producer Cal on the ones and twos, who said, I've talked to Slava daily in the chat there. He's very ready for this, says Cal. He stepped away from overtraining the wrestling. He's banging and sparring. This is a don't tap play as well. That's Cal's podcast. Yo, I like it, man. I love Slava. He's just a good guy, kind-hearted, lighthearted, fun-spirited guy. And when he's not having to deal with the wrestling threat, he can succeed, Slick. I agree, right? And he bit down on his mouthpiece. He showed, okay, he can still take a punch against on top. And I really like Slava's low kicks, his boxing, his work to the body, everything you said. I really think that as long as he can get the right matchups, he can succeed. So, Mr. Plus, you think Slava is a good, minus 135? I think it's a valuable spot there. What do you think about him in this spot?
Friend of the pod, the old Slava Claus. I want to see how he can overcome the size difference, of course. Tom Nolan, big guy, 6'3", big for the division. But I really think he can. I want to see how he does it, but I think he can. And you're right. Tom Nolan doesn't have half the skill set Chase Hooper does as far as the wrestling department goes. So, the only thing I worry about, again, is we're in Australia. Crowd's going to be oohing and ahhing if this guy gets shots off. And we've seen Tom Nolan land big shots before, but when you get fucking knocked out by Nicholas Mota, I think there's a lot more you got to worry about when you're fighting somebody like Slava Claus, because let's not forget, this Russian dude does have some hands of steel. Remember when he knocked out Mahashate? So, yeah, he does have some bricks for hands. He knows how to take a punch. I liked how he got that split decision over Lontop, although some would say it was unanimous. Even though I was on the other side, I'll admit it. He won that fight for sure. Yeah, I'm going to go back on the Slava Claus side here. I'd like to see him stay in the win column. He's definitely a friend of the pod, and I like to think of him as a fan favorite. I like to see him dance after the show.
100%. He hits the dance, the Russian dance. Love that. And we want to see him win. JJ's been winning. We want to see Slava get some dubs and the Friends of the Dar succeed. So Slava Claus, unanimous decision for us this week. I think maybe he's got a chance to get a knockout, Slick. No one, I agree. He hasn't fought anybody. Go Slava. All right, guys. It's time to let him out the cage. It's time for the Dogs of the Week. And I'm going to lead it off with a spicy one. Now, I'm going on a long shot here. And I was actually going to make this the Brasco breakdown. Then I thought, you know what? She could lose this fight. But nonetheless, my dog of the week is Bruna Brazil, plus 375, taking on Kong Wang, a fighter that we thought was ready to be the next great one, right? And Vince is looking like the next Wei Li. Amazing kickboxing pedigree, grappling skills as well, submissions. Just looking awesome. Hadn't really fought anybody, but the skill set was all there. The athleticism, right? Explosiveness. And then she gets caught as a huge, did she close like minus 1,000 maybe? Close to it, I think, yeah. By Gabriela Fernandez, gets dropped and submitted, choked out, and all of a sudden the mystique is gone. She's still very good. And I think she can probably beat Bruna Brazil, but plus 375 for a fighting nerd, guys. I'm taking the chance. Fighting nerds have totally made her different. She beat the shit out of Molly McCann. I had Molly Meatball on that one. Meatball was a big favorite. That was a mistake to take her there as an inflated favorite, I think, at home in London. And Brazil just showed she's got grappling defense. She's working the body. She's got knees, clinch work. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for her, again, in the kickboxing. Wang is definitely going to be way more explosive and quicker to the target. But I think there's ways that she can have success in the grappling, maybe deny her in some exchanges and just clinch her up, wear on her, use those knees, use those elbows. Fighting Nerd's got a game plan, and they just finally took a loss. Mayra Buena Silva is now a fighting nerd, and that was the one thing that worried me against JJ, but JJ's too tough for them. Doesn't matter. But they just took a loss. So I'm thinking Fighting Nerd's ready to get one back. All right, guys. I'm taking a long shot. Slick, any chance Bruna Brazil plus 375 comes through for me?
This is definitely going to be a fight that I'm going to be looking at the odds, and I'm going to look to play this fight double chance. I'm going to look at this fight, looking at Kong Wang to get maybe a second or third round KO, or I'm going to play Bruna Brazil by sub, hoping to get her sub plus 1,200, plus 1,300. Wow. Just doesn't really have that type of sub wins in her arsenal. But I think this is a good spot for either one. I think Kong Wang, she has shown that she can fight for long periods of time. You know, she fought kickboxing. I think this is a good spot if Conway could get like maybe like a late KO, or if, like you said, if Bruna Brazil gets the wrestling and grappling going, if she's able to have success, you know. But there is a little bit to her last fight because Fernandez did land a flush head kick before she got the grappling going, and that's how she was able to get the submission on Wayne Khan. So, and Bruna Brazil, even in that Molly McCann fight, in that third round, she definitely slowed down. We all know, like Molly McCann got submitted by I forgot her name of Julia Stularenko. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
so that just goes to show you how bad her ground game is. So her getting dominated in the grappling is not, is not too concerning for me. But what was concerning for me was Bruna Brazil was getting tired. You know, that was something new to her game. So I'm gonna look to play both ways. Maybe, excuse me, Juan Kang by KO rounds 2 or 3, and Bruno Brazil by sub.
All right, there you go. Some thoughts, some double chance thoughts there for that fight. Plus, what do you think? 375 long shot. Any chance?
I gotta see how Kong Wang does the weigh-ins. If she dresses up and is cocky again, yeah, absolutely. I'm going Bruna Brazil all fucking day. Now, if she's more conservative and like being a professional and taking this more serious, yeah, I mean, obviously she's gonna have the advantage on the feet. That's what they say, right? That's what they say about this chick. She's nasty on the feet. Man, I don't know. I will say this: Bruna Brazil only been in the UFC for 5 fights, including her Contender Series win, and they've fed her some dogs, man. I mean, Denise Gomes and Loma Lupumi. I mean, these are some dogs. She's got wins against, lower competition, Shauna Bannon and Molly Meatball, who obviously fell off. This is a good spot for her to get the win if she can get it, Bruna Brazil. I think she could be the stronger girl in there. So maybe she uses her grappling. Like you said, Fighting Nerd's got a plan. It's a sneaky team. You know they don't want to lose 2 in a row. I might go dog or pass, and not just because Brasco's saying it, but plus 340 you're going to give me. And this Kong Wang always gets these crazy juiced up odds, and we saw what happened in her last fight as like a -8 or 900 favorite. So she got subbed, boys, if you didn't know. Yeah, I don't know. Hate this card still, but maybe lean Bruno Brazil.
There you go. And Rico in the chat says, "What's up? I agree with Brasco. Plus 375 is worth the value." Jewish Better is in the chat as well. He's here, rocking out. And Darce Podcast Cal on the 1s and 2s, he says, "I'm going to get the value live." We'll see how it goes. Yeah, honestly, I think if you're on the Conway side, for me personally, I think Brazil's good enough to take it to decision. So I would go Wang decision or maybe Brazil. But obviously, I'm taking the chance on Brazil. Quarter unit, half unit tops. See if she makes it a fight. Mr. Plus, who's your dog of the week?
This is going to be an unpopular dog, and I'm not sure why everybody's so high on this guy, although he does have 4 knockouts in a row, and that's right, I am fading the giant, the 6'7" Taliesin Teixeira, and I'm taking the home dog, Justin Tafa. Man, listen, I just think he's fought not great competition, Tafa, but way better competition than this Taliesin Teixeira guy. We don't know any of these guys that he's knocked out. 4-15. Look at their records. 1-1. I mean, he's knocking out cans. Justin Tafa's got power. The home crowd fighting down under. I don't know, man. Coming off that decision loss to Carl Williams. Before that, he knocked out a guy that's almost as big as this guy, Austin Lane. I can't say Austin Lane's not as good as Taliesin Teixeira. They're both fucking nobody to me. I got to go with Justin Tafa to get back in the win column in front of his people. He fought Parker Porter, Harry Hunsucker. I mean, he's got KOs, man. If Justin Tafa can touch that chin, and he's going to have to punch up, like in Real Steel when he teaches the robot to punch up, he's going to have to punch up. And if he touches that chin, I think we could see Big Tree fall hard. Give me Tafa plus money.
Big Tree fall hard. Justin Tafa is like plus 125 right now. Rob Ryder says Tafa by KO. Let's go. James likes it as well. Man, slick. Taliesin Teixeira, right? I mean, he's the big favorite because what we saw, super tall, kind of a technical striker, looked to be poised on the feet. Get that knockout win on Contender Series. All of a sudden, he's favored over Tafa, who's got, like Mr. Plus said, KOs in the UFC over big fellas. Does Big Tree fall hardy, or do you think Taliesin Teixeira is worth being the favorite?
I think neither. I think this should have been a pick 'em either way. You just don't know what the fuck is gonna happen here. Tafa could come out there and blitz Teixeira with a crazy blitz, and he knocks him out. Or Teixeira can land a front kick from hell, and Tafa could go to sleep. Like we seen Tafa go to sleep before, through on simpler shit. So I'm not betting this fight. This is a like Mr. Plug. Probably look at the value. Like I said, should have been a pick 'em. Look at the value on Tafa. And if I bet on Tafa, I'm hoping he comes in there with like on some Clay Guida. I forgot who he fought, like on that type of blitz. Because if he lands on Teixeira, we've seen Teixeira was able to get hit in his contender series fight. So and whatchamacallit, Dana White, he even said that he wasn't too impressed and with that fight. You know, he's signing him because he has high hopes for him, but Tafa could definitely kill those hopes. So yeah, I probably lean dog or pass for me, but probably fight to end by KO is definitely be a good parlay piece.
Yeah, it could be whoever finds that detonator punch first, right? Both guys have the knockout touch. So I like it. Like the dog shot there on a heavyweight banger. Slick, who's your dog of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go like Mr. Plus said with an unpopular dog. Like this is a guy that has been down on the dumps his last couple fights. You know, I'm going with Jimmy Crute plus 130. This is just a spot I have to go with Jimmy Crute. Like we've seen Rodolfo Bellato, he has shown good fights outside the UFC, but in the UFC he just hasn't really impressed me in the sense that like he got knocked down by Iho Porteria in his last fight. Iho Porteria had him in full mount, almost finished the fight. If anybody, I think Herzog ref that fight, if I'm not mistaken. If anybody other than Herzog ref that fight, it probably would have got stopped. And then he ended up getting a real tired gassed out Pateria in the second round, and he finished him. I just believe that Jimmy Crute has shown us time and time again that if he's not really that facing that great of a power puncher, which Bellato I think is a good power puncher, but he's more of a combination wear you out type of guy. You know, he doesn't get you with just that one clean flush KO punch. You know, he's more of a accumulation. Like he didn't finish Poteria until he landed like almost 50 strikes in a row on full mount. So this is just a spot that I think Jimmy Crute gets the wrestling going. He gets on full mount. I think he finishes Bellato. I think he has the submission threat. He has the strong ground and pound. And I just think a lot of people are going to be clouded from the fact that his last three fights were against two of them against the same guy who had great power behind his punches in Alonzo Menefield, and then Jamal Hill, you know, and then a lot of people was looking at that KO against Anthony Smith. That wasn't really a legit KO. Anthony Smith was leg kicking him, and Jimmy Crute leg died out. Still was getting takedowns with his leg died out, but the ref felt as though like he wasn't able to continue, so they stopped the fight. So I think this is a good spot for Jimmy Crute to get the wrestling going and get a good Australian win. That honestly, this is me personally. I think if Jimmy Crute wins in that crowd and you see him crying, I think Jimmy Crute retires. I think Jimmy Crute has been enough with a lot of emotional distress with this fight. I mean, with the UFC, and he just wants to win. You know, he's time and time again. You would have thought that he would have been retired after that first Alonzo Menefield fight where he took a lot of damage. I think this is a good spot for Jimmy Crute. Give me Jimmy Crute money line plus 130, and I'm gonna throw a little sprinkle when odds come out by Jimmy Crute by sell.
Jimmy the Brute Crute. Wow, man. Yeah, he's had a rough go as of late. I'll never forget that leg kick TKO against Smith. Yeah, barely walk on it, was fighting on. He's tough as hell, but he's taking a ton of damage. His striking defense is terrible. But yeah, Bellato, guy that had a tough fight against Poteria. Mr. Plus, you've been fading Poteria all the time. So what do you make of Bellato, who Cal likes, it looks like in the chat? What do you think of this matchup for Crute and Bellato?
You know, Jimmy Crute has a nasty Kimura. I mean, it is old. He hasn't used it in three to 5 years, but it is nasty, and he's won fights with it before. You know, they said Jimmy Crute was retiring, then he came back. They say he found God. Yo, you bring faith to the ring and you're fighting at home down under, you could be a fucking problem. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm a big believer in that type of energy, just so we're clear. Jimmy Crute might bring that with him, man. When you got that kind of faith, that kind of belief, you're back. Maybe this is your spot. You fight at home. Slick, if he gets the win, I don't think he retires. I think he carries that God shit all the way to the next planet. So let's see Jimmy Crute get back in the win column. Guys, yes, he's had, if you look at his Tapology record, it looks pretty ugly with those last four, the draw, the 2 losses against Alonzo Menafield. But like Slick just reminded you guys, before that it was Jamal Hill, and then the leg kicks right before that to Anthony Smith. Before that, he beat Modestas Bukowskis, who I don't know where he's been, but he used to be good. So give me Jimmy Crute, that was 3 years ago, to get in that win column. I don't like Rodolfo, and I don't like him as a favorite. And I think people might bet him, and I think we can catch this line even a little bit better as we get closer to the fight. Maybe we can get plus 180 for Jimmy Crute.
Wow.
But I'm taking the plus money and Slick. I'm with you, man. I think he finishes it. I think we get to see that Kimura again, maybe.
Jimmy the Brute Crute, yo, if you get the sub, and the guy Jewish Better is saying Crute sub is plus 1,000. Get 10-1, and that Kimura is nasty. You're right. Rob Ryder says, can't tell you the last time I've seen someone win by Kimura. What is the last Kimura? Man, I can't remember it either. Who's got the last Kimura? Whoever can name that in the chat is the winner.
Been a minute for sure.
Respect. Yeah, man, that's an interesting look there. Maybe a Crute sub. Maybe he's coming back a new man. Maybe he comes back and proves that Bellato is not worth being a favorite here, despite the bad run he's been on. So there's the dogs of the week there. I like a scary amount of underdogs on this card. I'm going Brazil and Wrong Zoo. I like all the dogs you guys are on. I mean, this is, hopefully some of them come through for us. But next up, guys, we've done so many. I mean, we still got a Darce parlay to make, but before that happens, it's time to talk about the main event of the evening. And we're going to talk about the co-main as well. That beat is nasty, right? Mr. Plus is spinning. It feels like a Ninth Wonder type or DJ Premier type of old school shit. In any case, man, wow. Dricus du Plessis defended his middleweight title second time around against Sean Strickland. First matchup, he took Strickland's belt after Strickland took it from Izzy, and it won by split decision. It was a really close fight. Strickland landed a ton of those jabs, bruised up the face of Dricus du Plessis, but Dricus moved forward for the majority of the fight, opened up a cut on Strickland, kind of, changed up the aesthetic, mixed in a couple takedowns, and it was awarded the split decision. I was on Dricus, and I was holding my breath. And really, personally, I thought that just the promotion, the UFC wanted him to be champion. Look what he's done now. He's defending his belt, submitted Izzy. And here he comes again against Strickland. So, fellas, I'm wondering, what does Strickland do this time around, right? He's the jabs, the parries, the Philly shell, the teeps up the middle. He's so strategic and defensive and tough to deal with. But is it enough to get past Dricus? If they fight similarly and close, Slick, do you think that he can make adjustments to get past Dricus? Or if Dricus mixes his game up similarly again, does he get the decision win once more?
Yeah, I just think that he has to do the exact same thing as the first fight. Strickland was doing a great, not letting the takedowns get good control on the ground from Dricus, was able to hop right back up from the takedowns. The only thing that was looking around with was Dricus was doing a great job of throwing punches while Strickland was getting up from the takedowns across the cage, throwing those good haymakers on him against the cage. So that's one thing Strickland definitely has to fix. But the one thing that he doesn't have to fix is his punches. This guy landed like 180 strikes on Dricus du Plessis. His face showed it all against after the fight. And this is just a spot that I think this is a lot of people are gonna look to bet Dricus, but Dricus, like, he got that cut on Strickland via headbutt. They clashed, and that's where maybe the producers really, the judges really didn't see that, but that's what really made the blood come from Strickland's side. And if that cut really doesn't come apart, who knows what's going to be the difference in this fight. Dricus was landing good shots, but he was more of I would say more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like more of a moment winner instead of Strickland that was winning the majority of the rounds with his punches. You know, like Dricus was landing some good hooks, wobbling. I'm not wobbling, but like to the crowd and everybody else, ooh and ah. And so I think Strickland, honestly, I thought this fight would have been a pick 'em. I think Strickland definitely is the more value side. Probably look at Strickland via decision because I think that both these guys are durable enough, tough enough. Even though Dricus, majority of his UFC wins have come via KO or sub, but I think this is a good slapper knock 'em fight, just like the first one. And if it comes down to a split decision, I might want to be on the plus money side on this spot. So I'm gonna take Strickland money line in this spot, and I really like the fight to go to decision.
Wow, yeah, I like the breakdown there and interesting takes. Cal likes Strickland as well. Jewish Better likes fight does not go the distance at plus 135. I could see it being another slobber knocker, like you said, Mr. Plus, like both of them trading shots, close fight, maybe more, even more damage landed this time. Now that they know each other and there's just go for the aggression right away. I wonder how Strickland adjusts, if at all. Mr. Plus, do you think that the odds are too wide? Would you take the plus money shot on Strick?
Yeah, I mean, this is split. I thought Strickland won the last fight. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he won the fight. Split decision. Now now Dricus is a minus 220. I don't know how that makes sense. I think this is Dricus kryptonite right here. Strickland, the peppering shots, the Philly shell, the constant pressure. I think if Strickland would just put more pressure on him, that was his fight. Right, Dricus had his moments and won a few rounds. I guess they gave him the third. Right, I thought it was 2-2 going into the last round, and then Strickland won the last round. So I don't know. I do like the plus money side. I like the value, like Slick said, from a betting standpoint. So fucking, I cannot believe this is pay per view. This card. I'm just gonna say that again. And yeah, I mean, I like the Madman. I like Strickland, man. I'm thinking I think I'm gonna take a shot at Sean Strickland.
There you go. 2 for 3 for Strickland. I guess I'll be the one dissenting opinion. I'm going Dricus here. I think he keeps his belt. I don't know, man. He's got that X factor about him that he just walks through the fire, finds a way. He just finds a way. And I don't know if Sean's jab, 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 teep, 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 unless he really opens him up again. He damaged him, like you guys see in the press conference. Holy shit, he was bruised up, swollen. But if blood ends up winning, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it did require a headbutt or kind of opportunistic opening for Dricus to get that aesthetic and get the win there with the cut. But I think he can find a way again. But, again, the odds are wide, so I'm not betting that minus 210. Kind of think it goes the whole way again. But Jewish Better making a good point that the first fight that they had, fight doesn't go the distance, was minus 300. One fight, and now it's plus money. So big swing there on the odds if you're looking for value on the other way. It's an interesting point. All right, guys, let's also talk about the co-main event of the evening, which is on none of our picks, because it's really interesting, man. I'm happy to hear all the thoughts of everyone in the chat as well, so fire away. We got Wei Li Zhang, the strawweight GOAT, in my opinion, dominant champion, taking on Tatiana Suarez, who looks to be a really, really promising contender here. And Wei Li is the dog. I'm shocked by the odds, but I can also kind of understand it because Slick, Tatiana Suarez is legit, man. Her grappling, her jiu-jitsu, her power, her physicality, it's real. And she's showing it off. She's on a surge up the division. She's getting her shot here. She's the favorite as the contender. Do you think that makes sense? And do you think Wei Li is going to defend her belt? Or what are you seeing in this matchup?
Yeah, this is just a spot that Wei Li is going to finally get a girl that has the same physicality, if not more. And Wei Li was able to take advantage of these other girls because she had the physicality edge amongst a lot of girls that she had fought. She's been that dominant fighter, but now she's fighting a girl that probably as big of as a dog as her. Like, Tatiana Suarez just hasn't been in the scene, but we have seen this girl time and time again before she left the UFC, and now she's come back, and now she just started where she left off. Like, this is a girl that has submitted Alexa Grasso. Like, Alexa Grasso has a way better BJJ pedigree than a Wei Li. Wei Li just has come into her own with the wrestling and grappling her last couple fights. She started going to that Henry Cejudo gym. She started getting the wrestling going. But before that, she really wasn't that type of girl. She was just a slobber knocker. Try to like we seen her get dominated in wrestling and the jiu-jitsu by Rose Namajunas. And like it's not for me. I think Tatiana Suarez, she's way too opportunistic for a girl like her. I think she's the type of girl that if she gets a guillotine, she knows like she has her husband is the best guillotine choker outside of Charles Oliveira and Patchy Mix. And the one thing that I noticed about her in a lot of her fights outside, like in the UFC, is that when she gets that guillotine, she knows when to let it go. Whenever she gets that guillotine, she knows when it's gonna put you to sleep. And if she's just gonna be able to attack nonstop. She has great cardio. I think she's gonna be able to dictate the pace. My one concern, because she hasn't fought in the fourth and fifth rounds for a long time, is what is she gonna look like? But for me personally, I don't think it gets there. I think Suarez gets that neck, gets into a scramble with Wei Lee, and I think she gets the better of it. Tatiana Suarez has just been on my radar time and time again. Whenever she had came back to the UFC, I said it to myself, she is going to be champion because this girl is just the whole package. She has the striking to really get the wrestling going, and she's like a Charles Oliveira. She doesn't have that flashy striking, that good boxing, but she has good whereabouts with the striking to get where the fight where she shines at, and that's in the grappling. So I'm gonna go with Tatiana Suarez by submission in this spot. Probably rounds 1 or 2, honestly. If this fight gets to the fourth and fifth round, I think Wei Lee could win moments. But I just think Wei Lee has shown in that Rose Namajunas fight that if the fight does get to the fourth, fifth round, her takedown defense doesn't get better. So I think Tatiana Suarez, she works hard. She's been working on her wrestling time and time again. She has the grappling to go with it. Now she gets better with the striking. I think she puts an all-around performance, and everybody just looks at this girl like, damn, where the fuck did she come from? Because Tatiana Suarez is not that girl that's coming out there, like Ronda Rousey and stuff like that. So she's a real humble, just like her husband and Patchy Mix. So I think she gets this win and gets a dominant submission.
Dominant submission win for Tatiana Suarez, who, man, I'm just like wondering at this point, is Wei Lee at plus money just bait? Like, is this the one girl that can dethrone the strawweight GOAT, Mr. Plus? Because it looks like Rico, who likes Suarez by sub in the chat, also likes it. And Jewish Better wondering the same thing. Interested in seeing Suarez cardio in 3, 4, 5. So how do you see his championship fight for Suarez?
Definitely 2 ways to bet it. Wei Lee by decision or Tatiana by sub. I think that's either one is how it goes down. This is going to be a crazy one, man. I'm excited to see it. This is one fight I am excited to see. Tatiana Suarez, man, she's got like guy grip strength, supposedly. Those guillotines, she don't let nobody out. If they're dry and she locks that up in the first or second round, I agree, Slick. She could really put it on Wei Lee and put her in a spot where she can't get out. I don't like the huge layoff for those 4 years, but when she came back and back-to-back guillotines against pretty decent competition, now she's getting the title shot. Man, this is where she wants to be. She's gonna be the bigger girl in there. Some say she's a lot stronger too. Like you said, physicality is absolutely there. I'm excited to see this one. You can't put anything past Weili Zhang though, with her experience. 28 fights, and of course, she is never-ending cardio. So we'll just have to see. Man, this is a good one. This now I know why it's a pay-per-view, but it's only because of this fight right here.
I like that you're more interested in the co-main here than the main event or anything else. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm just a huge Wei Lee fan, but I can't stop seeing Yan Xiaonan take her down multiple times. Like even after she rear naked choked her and Herzog didn't call it, and they hit her with smelling salts in the corner. Like what? You've never seen anything like it. Just brought a ghost back to life, and there she is still fighting. Tough as hell, but in any case, yeah, was still able to take Wei Lee down. So she has been susceptible to takedowns. If Suarez gets on top, I worry Wei Lee will stay there for the round. So I really want to bet on Wei Lee, but the price tag is like, feels like they're dangling it on me. Slick like Suarez. So a lot of the chat like Suarez too. Could be her time here. There's your main event and co-main event discussion.
Herzog only calls it over if someone's not moving. If they're not moving, he'll call the fight. But other than that, Bro, did you see that Terrence McKinney not stop? What are you doing, bro? 40 headshots? Oh, man. Brain damage.
Who is left? Because Herzog used to be my guy. That I was like, he's the parent. He's the best ref, right? He calls it clean every time. He speaks Portuguese. He's locked in. He's right. Like, all of a sudden, he's been blowing him, man, letting him go too long. Like, I don't trust any ref in the UFC at this point anymore. People love Herb Dean. I think Herb Dean stinks, to be honest. I think Herb Dean stinks. All right, guys. It's time to come together. Lace them up for a Darce parlay. And Jewish Better says it's the Chinese year of the dog. It's the year of the dog, so maybe it starts off just like that. Well, in any case, let's start it off with Mr. Plus's leg of the Darce. Who do you got? Fight we haven't talked about.
Yeah, I'm going with the ex-Eternal champ. He was a champ in Eternal. That's the fight club over there in Australia. I'm going with Quillen Salkill, and I love the last name, Mr. Kill. I just don't believe in this Ashbull Jubilee guy. After that last KO against Mike Breeden, saw a lot of flaws in his game. Hasn't fought in a year, which is a good amount of time to take off when you get KO'd, when you get hooked in the face and the fight's over like that. However, I just like this kid's activity. He's fighting all the time. He's an up-and-comer. Everybody's high on him, and his one fight when he did take that belt over in Eternal, he was like a huge underdog. And ever since then, he's been the favorite and just knocking people out. So I'm sticking with him. I think he gets the job done. He can get it done sub or knockout. But yeah, no matter what, I think he gets the W here. His hand raised. That'll be the first leg. It is a total juice ball.
Juice ball, but nonetheless, we like it. Salkill, the name alone, I was like, oh, baby. But yeah, Jubilee, you guys are making me crack up in the chat. They like your pronunciation of Anshul Jubilee. I love Mr. Plus is the only Indian fighter in the UFC, but oh my God, in his last fight, do you guys you remember he was winning against Mike Breeden, and then Breeden just started barking at him and just broke him mentally. He literally barked at him, broke him mentally, tired him out, and yeah, I don't think much of him either. So yeah, Slick, who's your leg? Or actually, let me go first because your leg is after mine. Salkill, big juice ball, but that's the first leg. Mine is also juicy. Short analysis here. I'm going Alexandre Topuria because he's the older brother of Ilya, and that's it. He's decent. But they got to promote him here. He's fighting Colby Thickness. The interesting part of this fight, more so than the guys actually in the octagon, are the guys in their corner. Because Topuria will be cornering his bro, and Alexander Volkanovski will be cornering Colby Thickness. And obviously Volk wants his shot back at Topuria. Topuria might be on to Islam Makhachev, but there's still that in the wing. So there's a fight within a fight here in the corners. In any case, I think that Topuria wins. I think he's better, and he's got the name. They're going to want to promote him. Slick, what's your leg?
Well, this is two ways you could bet this right here. Either you want to go the over 4.5 rounds, or you could bet the fight to go the distance. Me personally, I'm betting the fight to go the distance. We're going to the main event. I think that, like I said, I think there's a slobber knocker main event. You got fight to go to decision, minus 135 around there, minus 140. I think this is a good spot. Like I said, a lot of people are going to probably be on the Drickus finish side. I just think Strickland, he has the takedown defense to keep this fight on the feet. I don't think Strickland is KOing Drickus, and unless Drickus lands something crazy, I don't think he's KOing Strickland, who's as durable as they come. So, yeah, fight to go to decision, minus 135, or if you want, you can play the over 4.5.
There you go. So we got Strickland, Drickus, yes, distance, and we put those together. We got decent odds. We got the plus money. We got plus 118. We'll see how those odds adjust. We're probably on a Monday, so a lot of time till fight night. But not the juiciest Darce. Hey, we got last week. Let's just keep hitting plus money, and I'm happy, guys. All right, y'all. There's a fight that we haven't talked about that could be violent. It could, in fact, be our banger of the night. We got a French kickboxer taking on a guy that's coming off Contender Series. I believe he's Australian. Yeah, I think he's got the hometown crowd here. He is. Oh, man. Plus, I know you're a big Contender Series guy. He was physical. He was nasty. He got an early sub. It's Kevin Jousset taking on Jonathan McAuliffe. McAuliffe, I believe that's how you say it. What do you think of this guy? Because he brought the fire.
Pronunciation sounds right to me. I like this McAuliffe kid, and we saw some flaws in Jousset last time when he got battle tested, didn't we? Before that, Jousset, Kenan Song looking good, getting the win against Crosby, Kiefer Crosby. First 2 wins in the UFC, then they put you against better guys, and now they're giving him a guy who just got the dub in the Contender Series, and Jonathan McAuliffe. And man, this guy has violence and chaos written all over him, and that's why I like him. The X factor is the chaos. They're both going to have power. They're right around the same size. Maybe Jousset's a little bit taller, but McAuliffe's got a tiny bit of a reach advantage. Man, this kid on the Contender Series, man, he looked fucking good, and then he got the sub. I think he could get the job done, man. I think it's by decision, though. Jousset's a tough guy. Not everybody's got hands like Brian Battle. I'm taking a shot at the plus 200 here, though. There's no get. I'm not going on Jousset minus 200. Not happening.
Another dog that I like. Another dog, man, bro. I'm either going to be right as hell and be like super smart for taking a lot of dog shots, or be wrong as shit and some favorite sweep. But I like it. I think Slick. I think he could take his. We saw him break to some pressure from Battle, and of course, Battle, like Plus said, is a different beast. But I think that McAuliffe could take his back and maybe choke him out. I think he's got the grappling edge. What do you think about this fight?
You see, I find it totally different. I find it that Kevin Jousset could actually make McAuliffe, a guy that's a wrestling, look like a 9-year veteran kickboxer. Like, the guy has zero striking defense. Kiefer Crosby, a guy that is not no longer in the UFC, landed 39 of 59 punches in the first round against Kevin Jousset. This is a guy that's not on, like, doesn't deserve to be any type of favorite. Doesn't deserve to be, like, this is a guy that the only time he won was against Song Kenan, and we just seen what Kenan Song happened in his last fight. Got fucking slept by fucking Muslim Salikov, fucking wheel kick. So, like, this, like, I'm not too impressed, bro. Like you're putting Kevin Jousset as a favorite for no reason. Like, for no reason. He got slept because of his striking defense his last fight. Now you're gonna tell me that he's gonna come in here and stuff all of Jonathan McAuliffe takedowns. Jiu-Jitsu is one of those guys that, Jousset is one of those guys that he does try to play jiu-jitsu off his back sometimes. So if you're telling me that McAuliffe is going to get opportunities, I'm going to have to play him at this number. I told myself I will never play Jousset as any type of favorite unless he's fighting an old veteran, getting back in spot in France or Paris or wherever he's from. So this is a spot that I'm going to have to go with McAuliffe plus 190. And whatever the odds are for the sub, I'm going to take a small sprinkle on the sub too, because we seen Jousset actually try to go to the jiu-jitsu in the wrestling his last fight. Against Kiefer Crosby. He got the takedown, got the sub. You're telling me you're going to give me a grappling exchange with McAuliffe at this moment in his career? Yeah, I'm going to take a small sprinkle on the sub.
Yo, I love it. Sub plus 1,000. Bro, there's some sub plays that we like. They're 10-1 on this card. So all of a sudden, got some juicy action. I love it. Another underdog that I will take a shot on. I feel like actually I should have had him as a dog of the week or somebody. I'm glad we got to it. But McAuliffe, looking to bring the noise, and Jousset, minus 245, agreed. Fraudulent minus 245 there. Jewish Better, it's coming, dude. We're going to talk about that fight very soon. It's time to talk about the fights we haven't talked about yet, the honorable mentions. And there's just two. Actually, there's just one. We talked about all of them, except Hyung Sung Park versus Nyamjargal Tumendumberi. That's right. And you guys might remember him from a recent fight against Carlos Hernandez. It was a good scrap, and he lost the fight. But Niam Jargal brought the noise, showed that he's got toughness, he's got good grappling skill, he was hitting some reversals, he was making Hernandez work, and Hernandez, honestly, I think is pretty good. Some people will say he's mid or whatever. I think he's extremely skilled and tough. He's a good fighter. And I think Tumen Dumpity is a live dog here against Hyung Sung Park. Tumen Dumpty's got really good back takes. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because my homie Toby in the neighborhood has actually been a translator for some of these Mongolian fighters like Alatenghai Lee and Dana Batgeri. He knows this guy, Tumen Dumpty. He says, yo, kid's a fucking dog. And we saw it. I think this is a winnable matchup against Hyung Sung Park, guy that hasn't fought anybody either. So, yeah, give me another dog shot here. Tumen Dumpty. Slick, am I bugging?
Yeah, this is just one I can't be on Tumandera, man. I just think this is one of those spots that's Park is going to be the cleaner striker. He's going to be able to land that well. And I think this could be another version of the Carlos Hernandez fight. We'll probably see a Park in like a scary submission or something, and then next thing you know, he gets out and he ends up dominating the rounds. And one thing I like about Park, man, I think this is a guy that could be a real good prospect coming out of the road to UFC. I think this is he has the whereabouts. We've seen time and time again that he has the toughness, getting finishes in second and third rounds. I think Tumandora is tough, but I think he's just gonna be not tough enough to. I think he's gonna get cracked or he's gonna get submitted in this fight. So I'm gonna go Park.
Fair enough, Mr. Plus. How do you see the fight?
Probably going to be drinking during this one to start off the card. Not going to lie. If the chat goes crazy enough, I'll try to pronounce this guy's name. I'm going with Park just based on the fact that I can't even say the other fucking guy's name. So, yeah, give me Hyung Sung Park. No actual research was done on this pick or fight, and I'll be drinking, not betting this one. I'm going to be fashionably late to the card.
It's the first one of the night, so don't feel obligated to bet it. But another dog I'm interested in, so many. And I actually like this card for that reason because there's a lot of plus money I want to sprinkle. But, yeah, it's a pay-per-view. We just got a fight night that was higher caliber. But, hey, like we always say, guys, two people are punching each other in the face. We covered it all, guys. Rico says, what are you drinking? Drink of choice for Slick is, of course,
Hennessy.
What's in there? Slick drinking some purple drink over
Oh,
here.
nah. I'm drinking
some Robitussin.
Yeah, that's okay. Plus, what's your drink of choice?
I'm going whiskeys. I'll do Chivas 18 whiskey neat. Naim Jagal Tumen Dumpty.
Said it like Genghis Khan style.
Niam Jargal. What the fuck? What were your parents doing when you put Niam Jargal?
They were in Mongolia with different languages and phonetics and rules to words. All right, y'all. We did it. UFC 312 Stars Podcast. Good luck. Thank you all for watching live. Hit the like button on your way out. Leave a comment on your way out. Appreciate all you guys watching live and supporting the show. And good luck if you're town any of the bets. From myself, Brasco, Mr. Plus Money, Slick Montana, and Cal on the ones and twos, we say peace. See you next week.
Jasmine Jasovizzi is here. Don't forget to tap into the Dars podcast.
The Dars choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Dars podcast.